What's up, you guys? We're back with Week 14 NFL picks. This Beat the Odds NFL edition on Odds Checker. Before we get started, of course, guys, how did we do last week? Big game tonight, Patriots-Bills. Big game tonight.
Huge game. Huge game. Can't wait. I'm super excited, especially with was a 40-mile-an-hour wind gust we might have tonight. But I went 2-2. I am Mr. 2-2. I did get the pick of the week, which was by this last week. It was the Colts minus 8.5, and they really took it to the Texans, so that was nice. But again, just Mr. 500.
I broke my 2-2 stretch, not in a good way. I went 0-4. I completely tanked last week. It was terrible. I feel like I should be wearing a dunce cap now. We got hot like the first month and a half. Then it was a stretch of 2-2. And now I'm just hemorrhaging money, I guess, is how this is going to play out. I thought 2-2 was going to break in a positive way. It did not.
You want a better draft pick. I think that's what you're going for.
Yeah. Tank for two, right?
Well, more luck heading into Week 14 for us, guys. Now, let's get started. What do you guys have for us this week?
Okay, I'm going to start off with, I can't believe I'm doing this, but this is these two, I would say, frustrating teams. I'm going to go with the Vikings -3 hosting the Steelers. And this is because I think it's just after getting their teeth kicked in by the Lions a little bit and maybe a little embarrassment that might happen. Also, the Vikings are battling some injuries, so this is going to be one really I want to take a big, hard look at what the injury reports are this week for the Vikings. Having said that, they still have a good offense, even with Madison back there instead of Cook. Even with the O-line, some of the O-line woes. Cousins and Jefferson are really, really hard to defend for 4 quarters. I know Thielen's got the high ankle sprain. I'm saying all this stuff, but I just think that it's too hard for the Steelers offense to maybe keep up with the Vikings that really need a win. I mean, they're still in playoff contention. They still have stuff to play for. Zimmer's not going away. So I'm betting on pride here. So I'm betting that the Steelers had a big emotional win against the Ravens, and then they maybe get a letdown when they travel to Minnesota.
Yeah, the Vikings were probably the drivers in the 7th seed. If you look at, the entire collection of the remaining schedule in the NFC, them losing and the Eagles winning, even with Gardner Minshew back there, kind of puts them in a position where now the Eagles are kind of in the driver's seat. So you're talking about, if they need a win. Yeah, they absolutely need a win. And the Steelers are in the opposite spot. They're coming off of a big win. No one thought that they were going to win. I lost money on that game personally. I have this pick too. Minnesota Vikings -3.5. I just think this team's going to be able to beat them up. Pittsburgh still can't throw. That's kind of Minnesota's weakness a little bit is coverage wise, right? So I don't think they're going to get gashed there. You're coming off of the week of like, hey, Ben's retiring, and then Steelers fans being like, wait, maybe he shouldn't retire. No, he should retire. He should retire. I'm buying the dip in the Minnesota Vikings here. This is a team, too, that everyone's going to remember this embarrassing loss that came down to, essentially a Hail Mary play. They beat the Packers the week before. It's not like this team can't play. They're just a roller coaster. So, when they're down, I'm buying them going up. When they're up, I'm buying them going down. That's kind of who the Vikings are. So, plug this one in for me.
It's kind of funny. That's how betting the Steelers is, too. It's like you want to bet opposite of where the narrative is with them.
That's why I'm catching them at the perfect time.
Yep, right here. You're getting out, and then you're taking that stock and investing it in the Vikings. No, I see it the same way. My next one, AFC West battle, I'm going with the Chiefs hosting the Raiders -9.5. I think even with the Mahomes stuff, and maybe just this Chiefs offense, I wouldn't say they've been figured out, but they're hitting speed bumps week after week after week. It's still Patrick Mahomes. They're still healthy. They still have their guys, and this Raiders defense isn't world beaters. They have the pass rushers, but I just watched them live against Washington. Just like, I don't trust this Raiders defense whatsoever, especially going against the Chiefs. Also, it's in Kansas City, so you got some of that hoopla, some of that love that you're going to get there at the home game. I'm thinking the Raiders, maybe they're having a little stuff bottom out for them a little bit. Maybe it's just, hey, they've gone through a hell of a year. And I think, it's December and they can see the end in sight. And it's like, let's just get through the season. So I'm betting on the Chiefs on the upswing and the Raiders just falling off and just trying to get through the season without anyone getting hurt.
I like that one too. It didn't make my list, but, they've already played before in Kansas City. Like that, seeing that defense is kind of what, kickstarted their offense a little bit.
Yep.
This is probably my grossest pick of the week. New Orleans Saints -6 at the New York Jets. I don't think the Saints are a very good team. I understand they got embarrassed on Thanksgiving, The Jets are not a good football team. No. Zach Wilson under center, they are maybe, if they aren't the worst football team, they're up there in contention. Like I'd take the Lions over them. The only other teams I think that would kind of be in contention with them would be Houston and then probably Jacksonville. I guess those are probably the only teams. Yeah.
That's the unholy triumvirate that they have, those three teams.
So bad. It's like hard to tank in the NFL now because it seems like there's so many teams that are like actually tanking, you know?
Yeah.
But New Orleans, you know, their front is really good. I don't think the Jets have the weapons to kind of make up for the, you know, the weakness in their secondary. Corey Davis just got, season-ending surgery for an abdomen injury, which is like a serious thing. And I get why you don't want to push through that at the end of the season. Just say like, to hell with it. Like, I'm not going to get myself even more hurt. So New Orleans, I don't think their offense has it together at all right now. But the Jets might like score 3 points in this game. Like it's a very real possibility. So if like New Orleans can get to 10, this game might cover. So I'm taking the Saints -6 here.
Yeah, spoilers. We'll put a pin on that game. We'll be right back to it. I am going to go another divisional battle. This was so fun in December. Is the NFL loves making all divisional battles. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys -4 at Washington. I think the Washington, some of the Taylor Heineke magic slipper pixie dust that he's put on that team is going to wear off at some point. I mean, I keep saying this every week, and they're just going to keep battling and keep winning. They've been putting that this entire team, the entire offense is put together with gum and toothpicks. And I think this Cowboys defense it's very, very legit, and they're getting healthier. So I think with DeMarcus Lawrence back, this Cowboys team as a whole is getting healthy and getting off their COVID scare. They're a really good football team just overall. They can hang with any team. And not only that, like I think now they're a team that's going to really start making some statements with some of these games. I think Washington with their defense, they've improved. They're kind of doing what we thought they would at the beginning of the year, but it's not like they're reinventing the wheel with what they're bringing. And a Cowboys team that can out-execute you, I think they're able to do it. I think the Cowboys are several tiers better, and I know it's -4 on the road, but I think this is going to be a Cowboys like big win in Washington.
I'm going to use your term here and say we're going to put a pin in that game. I think we're at lockstep now, which is it's building up for another 2-2 week, man. I'm telling you,
there we go.
We're going in lockstep. My last game before the pick of the week, Baltimore +2.5 at the Cleveland Browns. Did we just like forget that Baker's hurt? What is this line? I don't really understand this one. So Baltimore is a better team. I understand Marlon Humphrey just got injured. He's probably going to be out for the year. That's a big blow because he's the one guy who could like cover basically in that secondary for the Baltimore Ravens. But at the end of the day, I don't think Cleveland talent-wise, you know, is totally outclassing Baltimore here. And the quarterback advantage is just too high. Cleveland's fighting for their life. I know Baltimore is kind of in this weird spot, but coming into this week, they were the 1 seed in the AFC, and they're on the road, and they're 2.5-point dogs to a team that's quarterback hasn't looked right for at least a month, maybe a month and a half. I'm not buying it. I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens here.
And it's the one thing that you're worried about is like, oh, how the Ravens hold the coverage now because they like to do man, but it's not like the Browns have all the world beaters at receiver. They play all heavy tight ends. It's all heavy stuff. They
don't have a bunch of speed. They don't have a bunch of speed, and the quarterback can't complete a pass.
And the Ravens still have those guys up front. Nope, I completely agree. I'm staying away from AFC North battles, but I see it the same way you do.
All right, let's get into picks of the week. I'm looking at Titans-Jags game. Titans, they're coming off a 2-win streak and a nice bye week. They needed that refresher to get focused for tonight's game, but plain and simple, the Jags aren't good. 2-10. Urban Meyer, what are you doing? Like, the Jags just need to end their season, like, now. And then start practicing in the off-season now. Like, I don't know what's going on. So, easy pick for me, Titans -9.
Yeah, that's just betting against the Jags. I see it the same way. That's why they couldn't make that spread big enough last week against the Rams. I was like, oh, it's 13. It's under 2 touchdowns.
My dumbass took it. I was like, hey, that's a lot of points. Stafford's hurt, and then Stafford looks great. The other thing, too, is every week they ask Urban Meyer, like, why are you using the running backs in that way? And his answer is always like, let me get back to you because I don't know either. And it's like, whoa, you're the head coach, bud. You're the head coach. You shouldn't be saying, let me get back to you. Like, you should know these things.
It's the same question. It's not like they ask a
every
new
week.
one. It's like every week. It's like 3 in a row.
They asked him about James Robinson because they were like, okay, so he's on a pitch count, right? And he's like, yeah. And they go, Okay, well, in the last 3 minutes of the game, he got 8 carries. Why'd you do that if he's on a pitch count? He goes, that's a fair point. That's a good point. It's like, dude, come on. You're making like $10 million a year.
What is it exactly you do here? That's exactly what I want. So my pick of the week, and like I said, put a pin in it. I'm going the Saints -6 at the Jets. I see it the same way. I think the Jets are bad, especially with Wilson back there. It's just not there. This is not a year. This was a rebuilding year, but it was even more of a rebuild than I think anyone realized. I think this Jets defense they got holes left and right. They can get gashed for 40 at the drop of a hat. Even if the Saints are starting Taysom Hill or like whatever they're doing on offense, it's like, yeah, but you're not really concerned about what the Jets are doing on defense. I think on the flip side, this Saints defense, I came away watching that. I just finished watching the Cowboys Saints game from Thursday night. And honestly, it's really impressive what they're doing on defense. They are rugged. They can really bring it to you. And I think this Jets offense can't handle that, especially with Wilson. I don't think Wilson's going to be making many protection points. So I think the Saints defense is going to just crank it up and get after him. So Saints -6.
Yeah, I'm totally there with you. The other thing that probably doesn't get talked about enough is Lawson going down with that Achilles injury in the summer. Yes. And then what's his name? Marcus May getting dinged up. And then their left tackle getting hurt, as their rookie quarterback who wasn't there at all in the summer because they had a contract dispute. Ends up going down. So, you end up having a rattled quarterback to start the season, and now Corey Davis is out. So, there's just so many things that worked against. You're right. It's just, hey, it's not your year. Wilson, don't pull the plug on Wilson yet, but it's definitely not your year. Run it back next season. Just try not to get players hurt right now.
Exactly.
My pick of the week, Dallas Cowboys -4 at Washington football team. They are just a better football team. I think Dak Prescott still, to this day, is playing at MVP caliber. I think you'll probably hear a little bit more of that hype as the season gets, down to the wire. Right now, it seems like the conversation's really Brady and Rodgers. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think they're going to give it to Rodgers through Zoom. Yeah. I don't think that's happening.
Zoom.
You can't do it in person. They don't let him meet with the media in person, so it'd have to be through Zoom. So I don't think that's going to happen. So I think the conversation is probably going to be if we want to give the MVP to someone new, which we all know voters want to do that, it's probably going to be Dak. Again, to your point that you mentioned earlier, Taylor Heineke, I think, the magic fairy dust is probably going to wear out at some point. Washington.
I keep saying that, but he keeps doing it.
Washington's defense has been a mess for most of the season. They've just had talent up front, and now they're losing some of that talent. It's actually kind of amazing that, the Raiders did end up losing that game. I didn't expect that at all. I lost that bet last week. This is a lot of me making up for bets that I lost last week. And just hammering and just doubling down and being that won't happen again. That won't happen again. So I'm taking Dallas here. I just think they're a better team almost across the board. Huge quarterback advantage. It's only 4 points. It's at Washington. I'm not even giving them 3 points for being in Washington. No one goes to those games unless it's, people basically bribing politicians who have, season tickets. That's the industry that Washington's season tickets are in right now. So, yeah, people don't go to the games. It's probably going to be at least half Cowboys fans. Dak's going to go off. I think that offense is just going to eat. They're going to run them out of town.
Agreed.
All right, well, on that note, that's it for Week 14 NFL Picks. This is Beat the Odds NFL edition on Odds Checker. We will catch you guys next week.